Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try this. We are back with the Shadows Within. I'm sharing out the invite. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I am inviting everybody, ladies and gentlemen, for who would like to come out. And right now, KCW is on. So please go check them out. Also go check out other companies like WAE, RCW, XPWF, IWA, 3Dub, DPW, AOWE, BGW, RCW, SCW, VCW, many others. And we also have pro wrestling companies like Dropkick Championship Wrestling, IWF, Imperial Wrestling Federation, which continues to grow, Deadlock Pro Wrestling, Pride Pro Wrestling, Power Pro Wrestling, Pure Pro Wrestling, Coastal Championship Wrestling, New Era Wrestling. We also have many others like Deadlock Pro Wrestling, Micromania Wrestling, Micro Wrestling Federation. We also have Extreme Pro Wrestling, XPW, JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. There's also Forever Pro Wrestling, 4PW. Alba Championship Wrestling, ACW, Scottish Wrestling Entertainment, SWE. Hog, House of Glory, CCW Combat Zone Wrestling, GCW Game Changer Wrestling. Our guest will be on soon. He's taking care of some business. But I hope everybody's having a good day or night, wherever they may be. Also, of course, go check out Reality of Wrestling, ROW, who associates with the WWE. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm almost done inviting everybody. Also, we also have IWC, International Wrestling Cartel. We also have the ECWA, East Coast Wrestling Association. Yeah, wrestling community is big, from backyard wrestling to pro wrestling to e-fetting, you name it. The wrestling community is large. And I'm also looking to expand to not just wrestling things, but I'm also wanting to talk about horror movies or just movies in general, classics to now, remakes, originals, you name it. Spin-offs, shows, movies, superheroes, villains, action, like do stuff like that. Maybe even do like a tournament, movie of the week or something, movie of the month. Hold on, we are almost done inviting everybody. Welcome, Mr. Wildman, who we've had on here before. And our guest is waiting for himself to come on. I did add him. I didn't send you the invite, Kerry. I did send out the invite, and it says that it's adding you. It said technical difficulties again. Do you mind sending another invite again? Oh, there we go. Okay, I sent you another invite. Let's see if this works. I believe you. I don't blame you. Like I said, technology never our friend. Like I've had difficulties on here on the show before. Um, every time I click the it, FB crashes. Hmm. Try my other phone. All right. Is it your voodoo? Is it your voodoo? I know you got voodoo up your sleeve. We had you on here before, man. Had the lights go whack weird. Oh, hello, Ethan and Andrew. Welcome, sir. And congratulations. I can't wait to see what you bring in the IWF, sir. Very excited. How about now? Oh, hello. Hello. Can you hear me? I think. Oh, the last one, ladies and gentlemen. It was working. We did get something there. Let's try this again. Excuse me. Woo. Excuse me. Woo. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, this is not his fault. This is the internet or something, or like just it it kicked you. I sent you another invite. Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me? I still remember when Mary was on here, and I know you like freaking Mary's phone worked fine. Maybe you use hers.
I ain't got a clue what's going
Oh,
on.
oh! I can hear you.
Yeah, my headset wasn't working. Okay. I
I can
can't
hear
see
you
it.
fine.
Yeah, I can't see your camera on my end though, but that's okay. As long as I'm live.
Okay. Freaking awesome. Freaking, it's good to see you. Happy to have you on here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Oh, first off, I think I'll start with the standard. How are you?
I'm all right, chilling on my day off. I got 3 days off, that sort of thing. Work all the time.
This is Kerry White, Wild Man. He associates with a company that I also associate with, WAE, and he has association elsewhere. Whichever he would like to talk about is up to him. And this is your live, by the way. So basically, anything that anybody wants to join in, that is completely up to you. Not my call. That is your call. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. As far as talking about the other company goes, I'm only going to mention it every now and then if it's relevant. I don't want to
Okay.
cause no drama.
I I totally understand. I totally understand. Um, I'm not gonna ask you any questions that are gonna be, if you don't want to answer a question, like you could just tell me no. That
Yeah,
is,
I'll
yeah.
probably say, cheekily, next question.
Yes, understood.
Let me get my case back on this phone. I was trying to use the headset earlier. So,
Ooh, we have lost him again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, Jody. Hello, Mr. Austin, aka Mr. Nixon. Yeah, I don't think that was his fault. That was not his fault. It had to have been like an accidental button push. It 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 it, it must have been an accidental button push, guys. Like, no, technology is never our friend. I it happens. Messenger. I'll invite him again. He's coming back. Here we go. Are you good, sir?
there we go.
Yeah, yeah. Internet's never our friend. I'm guessing this is Messenger being cracked, or it could be the Tory party. Who knows?
That was my fault. I was putting my case back on so I'd be steadier, and my thumb hit the back button.
Hmm. Ah. I thought the Tory party was hacking you too. They've got to me.
Anyhow, we're good now. Maybe.
Ah. But we will not just be talking about e-fetting as you and I. Ah, yes. And we will not just be talking about your e-fetting career, as we will talk about, which we shall get to a little bit later, because there's something I told him he should have waited.
I don't listen, and she don't either half the time when I say something, so it works out.
So I've heard from Eddie, you both are stubborn.
Can be.
Freaking, well, I want to start off with the standard question of, with what brought you to e-fetting?
Well, for that question, we got to go way, way back to about 2018. Had a friend of
2018?
mine, yeah, had a friend of mine invite me to a e-fed, like a written e-fed that he had at the time. Um, I forget exactly what he called it, but that was the introduction to e-fedding for me. It took a bit to understand. It was typical role play written out. You write out your promos, and then people would vote on which promo was the better, and that's how the matches were decided. And then the promoter slash owner of the eFed would write out the matches as they saw fit and put the winner in. Um, Eventually, he had a lot of stuff come up in real life, and he asked me to take over. So with that came a brand change to my very first eFed WCWF.
Ooh.
Yeah, it stood for World Class Wrestling Federation.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so that was the starting.
Was there was there a reasoning for world class wrestling federation? Because when I think of world class, that's a pretty big name around like the wrestling world. If you get what I'm getting at, like what brought up the significance of that?
So for that one, we got to go back to my childhood with my
Okay.
cousin. We would wrestle with our figures, and at the time, the Monday Night Wars were big with
Ooh.
WCW Nitro and WWF Raw.
Yeah.
So our little brand was called WCWF, which at that time, with our little wrestling figures, was World Championship Wrestling Federation. So
Awesome.
fast forward to the RP days when I started e-fetting. I changed it up a little bit, and it was kind of a tribute to the better days of my cousin before he got onto a lot of drugs and stuff like that, and we've had our falling out. So I kind of kept that alive as a throwback to both him and my childhood.
So with that going forward, was how long did WCWF go for? What was before I actually asked how long it go for? What was like with the belts in your company of that time? Like what was the pay-per-views as well?
Well, the pay-per-views, I don't remember all of them. I know we would bring back some of the classic ones from WCW and WWF that wasn't showed at the time, such as Halloween Havoc, Bad Blood, etc., Judgment Day. Uh, we would bring those back, again, as a tribute. We had three shows at the time. We had Livewire, which was, again, a throwback to a very short-lived WWF program called Livewire. Um, I forget the other two, but I was in charge of one of them, and soon the others followed. Uh, I don't know if I answered your question there or if I just danced around it.
No, no, no. That thank you, thank you. That's really what I was like wondering. Like, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Um, what brought to the end of WCWF?
There was a lot that brought to the end of it. Part of it was a guy that I won't name. I needed help, and I thought I could trust him, but he ended up sabotaging a lot of other people's characters and using them inappropriately and
Oh,
not following who their characters were based on how they've been made. And then
mm,
a couple other things like real life stuff such as work and burnout on writing all the shows because at the time I was the one doing promos for my characters. I was helping do promos for other people's characters, and then I ended up writing all the matches out, and it just ended up eating into so much time. So I took about a 2 year hiatus on e-fetting as a whole until the company before the one I'm in now that I don't want to really mention because I don't want to
yeah.
bring up bad stuff. But
Not necessary, just
yep. Ah, hi, Allie Marie. That's a friend of mine.
Hello,
How's it
Miss
going?
Allie. Welcome to the show. It will be your so basically this live will be showing the people on your side and my end. So and I made it public, so that's why
It's
people will be
absolutely
popping up.
fine. I'm good with it.
Cool,
Some
cool.
people haven't seen me in like years.
Well, throwback for them, I guess, right?
Not really. I look completely different than when she last saw me.
Hey, everybody changes over time, as they say.
Got to.
Freaking, I am not going to bring up, like you said, that one company. I'm not going to put that hard questions onto you like that. I'm not going to be like that. So
Yeah.
I'll move on to other things. What? You were in a company called WAE. What brought you there?
Well, the desire to be back in e-betting and to support my fiance and her company. I decided to come in because I felt like I would have more fun, more freedom to play my characters, which honestly debuted way back in WCWF days. And, and to just play characters that some people wouldn't see or imagine me playing just for the fun of it. So
And you are part of the WAE management. That is correct.
I do minuscule. I, I I'm more of the guy offering support and ideas when needed. That's where
Understood.
I'm at there. I don't consider myself management so much as support.
Okay. Well said. Well said. I do have a list of your characters with me that I would like to
Here
go
it
over.
comes.
Oh boy.
I have been really excited for this, but I am under the impression you've also had other characters I may not have in this list. Would you like to talk about maybe the ones that I may not have compared to the ones I do have?
There are two. I'm tossing around the idea of somebody based off of a streamer I watch every now and then, personifying his character in WAE just for the fun of it. And then there is the cousin of my number one character, Kaida. His name is Kosai. I haven't brought him in yet.
Do you mind if we go into the Kaida and like the Kaida and Kosa?
Yeah, sure. So Kaida, we got to go back to when I was running WCWF or
Okay.
joining the other person. We would have uh, picture representations of who our characters are, and of course, most everybody knows my inspiration for Kaida was and still is Asuka to this day. But there has been a lot of changes in personality that keeps her from being an Asuka clone. But when I first made her, she, her pick representation was Kana, Asuka, whatever you would like to call her. Um, and that's where I started developing her persona. Now, Kosai, he goes further back. We got to go, Jesus, 2011
Oh,
ish, in the whole
wow.
SmackDown versus Raw series. He was
Wow.
my he was my created character that I would play as in the story mode, more or less. And he was a combination of a bunch of different inspirations when it comes to looks. As far as personality goes, that's the biggest reason I haven't brought him into e-fetting is because I don't know how I want to play him just yet. But I
So he's kind of
do
like a mysterious character.
not quite mysterious so much as I haven't really taken time to develop him in my mind yet. I do know that he's going to be related to Kaida as her cousin, more or less. I just don't know how yet. And when I made Kaida, this is also going to tie into Scylla. I made Kaida and Scylla at the same time as rivals, like friendly rivals. And the reason I did this was Kaida was originally made to be the daughter of the legendary Bull Nakano, and Scylla was the daughter of the legendary Alundra Blaze, aka Medusa.
Wow.
And if you're a big wrestling buff like I am, Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze, Medusa, they are literally rivals, like bitter,
Hmm.
bitter rivals. So the idea when I made them was to continue that rivalry, but flip flop the alignments. So Bull Nakano was typically the heel, where Alundra Blaze was uh, more often than not the face. So as their daughters, I flipped their alignments. Scylla was the heel, and Kaida was the face.
Yes.
So it was to continue a generational feud, but only in the ring. Outside of the ring, they were great friends, like most
Can,
wrestlers
can
are.
I can I ask something?
Yeah, go ahead, babe. Ask.
Well, since it is your show and like we're touching back on like a lot of your foundational type things,
Hmm.
and with this, kind of being the WAE thing, um, maybe touch on the subject of Rumble Roses and how Scylla and Kata come into play in that
Okay.
respect?
So that happened sort of my mid-run with the previous company. I just kind of threw it
Mhm.
together in my mind, but I could never play it out because, a lot of people in there don't like long-term storytelling and the past coming back to haunt. So I brought that to WAE where I was able to do it. And in Rumble Roses, I had them take on like their personas. I'm trying to remember their name. Dixie Clements was Scylla in her younger days, and then Reiko Hinamoto was Kaida in her younger years. And both of them had really rough times in Rumble Roses. The promoter treated them horribly, like they were trophies and figures more so than people. So that's kind of how Rumble Roses came in. And Kaida developed a hatred for the way that she was treated and brought in another character, which I'm sure you'll touch on, especially if you know the one I'm talking about when you're ready there, Larry.
Hmm. Wow.
Larry.
Yes, there was a name change. There was a big debate, but the producers thought it would be best if I changed the name. So,
Yeah, yeah, but Larry's great.
hey,
I
somebody thought
mean,
it was from VeggieTales the other day. Uh, um, did was where was where was Kaida's like beginning and backstory wise? Like
her backstory. Oh god, here we go. So you guys, oh, remember WCWF was a written EFED, so when we made our characters, we went into detail about them. Kaida was born in Tokyo, Japan,
uh-huh.
to Bull Nakano. And at the age of 11, she showed an aptitude and interest for wanting to wrestle. Bull Nakano said, um, I'll give you 2 more years to decide if this is what you really want to do. No, I got that wrong. At 9, she started showing interest. Bull said, I'll give you 2 more years, really watch wrestling and stuff and see if that's what you want to do. And then I'll start training you myself. The 2 years go by, she's now 11, and she still wanted to wrestle. So Bull Nakano started teaching her. In the midst of all this, Kaida also was enrolled in Ultimo Dragon's school of wrestling, which he
Ultimo
actually does
Dragon?
have. Yes. And
Awesome.
with that in mind, Kaida went, studied under him. Now she's training under both Bull Nakano and Ultimo Dragon. She has her first match at age 16, and she wins. From 16 to about 21, there was a time where she actually broke Ultimo Dragon's record. Instead of holding 12 titles at once like Ultimo did, she held 14 at one time. She found her way to WCWF after the falling out with Rumble Roses. She became the cornerstone and heroine of WCWF. She retired as the WCWF champion, and that's when the doors closed. She was the last champion to hold that belt before going to um, Coastal. Let's just put it that way. And she was mistreated there, and she found her way to WAE. That's a very, very brief history. Some of her biggest rivals were Bile, Chaotica, Scylla, of course, and a guy by the name of Hotshot, who later became Mordeo. And I'm trying to get him in once he feels ready to join e-fetting again. I
Understood.
really want him to come back to WAE because he's in real life a good friend of mine. And then there was
Going through some stuff.
And then there was another pretty good rival in WCW. She had
Was it Vextra?
Disciple Ahmed. So
Was it
that
Vextra?
No, she came about in Coastal,
Oh,
and
okay.
then here in WAE they haven't started a rivalry yet, but they are allies.
Which is actually funny that we're talking about Kaida first because hell of a night for Kaida on that pay-per-view. I don't know if you saw my review show I did on it.
I did. I was watching.
Oh gosh, that was incredible by what Kaida did. Kaida overcame all odds, and then the team up later was incredible. I think I'll just say, for those of you that missed it, the same night Kaida was in a match. She had a match against Tiffany. Now, may I mind you, Zach was the referee for that match, and Zach and Tiffany are covenant. But in that match, the Bible says Zach called it down the middle, and then in the end, Kaida won the world title back. And then not just that, goes
Didn't win
on.
it back. She never lost it. She defended it successfully.
Yeah, it was a
Well,
successful defense.
that's what I said. Won it back.
No, you said won it back, but I get you.
Isn't that what it is when you win it back?
She
When you retain?
never lost
She
it.
never lost it.
She
Well,
defended
that's what I mean. She won it back.
Yeah.
Like won it back.
It's
The-
called a defense, but I get it now. I get what you're saying.
Oh, I see what I'm saying now. My bad.
it. If the way
Now he got it.
say gets it back or got it back, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, like
got it back.
my bad, my bad. But that was my bad. Retained it.
Yes, there
That's
you
what
go.
I I meant to say yeah, but it goes on to win the tag titles with Vextra against three in a triple threat tag match.
You want to know what's the funniest thing? That's not the only time she's done this. What was it, the last pay-per-view?
Well, you call it a retain, or you call it a defense. I call it a retain.
Same thing, but the
But
previous
Defense
pay-per-view.
retain.
no,
I said
no,
bad wording. You guys were both right.
bro, no. You want to see Kata at her best? Go back and watch that one show we did where she had that fucking gauntlet.
The gauntlet match, and then turned around and faced her darker half.
Yes,
Say,
that was a great matchup. I enjoyed that.
Kaida is not anyone to mess
No.
with.
nope. I'm not touching that with a 50-foot pole. Wolfina is good over here in her own little bubble, away from the tiny angry Asian. No.
Welcome, Brian Chaplow. Good to see you, sir. IWF representing.
How you doing, Darren?
Friggin'. So with this, Kaida is now a double champion. Does she have any plans for with that world title?
With the world title, just being a defending champion and fighting champion is. I will what I know. Over here trying to get me to eat a cookie. Oh, don't want one right now. I'm too full.
Cookies are good.
They are, but I'm too full right now.
These are the awesome freaking McDonald's chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh, yeah.
I gotta go grab a mean bean.
You
But
always need your mean beans.
as far as the world title goes, just being a fighting champion and defending against anybody who wants to come after it. Same with the tag title. And the briefcase, you're just going to have to watch and see.
Most indeed. And speaking on one more little subject with Kaida, actually two more. Do you have any favorite rivals, like anywhere that you would like to bring up?
Oh, God.
If you had like a
Yeah.
top five,
Yeah.
like a top five.
Top three, honestly.
Top three.
Top three. First one is Hot Shot or Mordeo, because we went through so many bloody battles, including I'm going to really blow your mind here. You remember the Chamber of Horrors match that was big in WCW?
Yeah.
We went through that. We went through.
Lucky.
Yep. It was me as Kaida and Hot Shot with the 3-tower cage from WCW, Chamber of Horrors, whatever you want to call it. unbelievable match.
Wow.
And then Wolfie in Coastal was a huge rivalry. And then, of course, Scylla, because I do so much story-driven stuff between Kaida and Scylla as friendly rivals and vice versa.
And I will definitely say they both went into the pay-per-view with big stories behind them already.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the biggest things I like to do is tell a story. If I can't tell a story with my characters, I'm not doing my part.
Understood. And that's really, really fair to say because the story gives more to the characters instead of just being plain and just standing there.
Exactly. You can have your typical E-Fed matches. It's like so-and-so versus so-and-so. You watch the match, it comes to its conclusion. Or you can take the time and develop a story and make those calls so much deeper.
There's post it. Thank you. Because I know maybe not all of your friends are efficient, but
Yeah.
like if they like stories, like you just said,
Mhm.
open invitation. Please
Yeah.
come watch and enjoy.
There we go.
Freaking, I do always mention Arab EFED I'm associated with names, so definitely if they want to go check you out, I have mentioned your name on there quite a bit, like WAE Wolfie Hellion at Twitch, and I even talked about the YouTube channel a couple of times.
Yes, thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Of course, I'm always happy to help out. As long as it helps you guys out, that's what matters to me in the end.
Main thing is we're in it to have fun and enjoy and just
Exactly.
escape real life.
That's one of our big things within my company is we try to support one another and the other feds. You know, because a few of my guys, like AJ, for example, you know, he's trying to get his stuff up and going, and we
Exactly.
are full supporters of that.
Exactly.
I may not show it all the time because my ass is working all the time, but you know.
No, yeah. You got other
And
obligations.
unlike most other e-feds, like I said, we're not gonna harp constantly, and it's always business, business, business. Like we have fun.
I'm going to attempt to
Okay.
turn this camera, so bear with me a minute. If it goes sideways on your end, I apologize. That's better.
You're all chilling.
Oh, yeah. Got to on your days off. You don't get very many of them, especially in the line of work I do.
Indeed. You want to tell the people what you do for your line of work?
I'd rather not right now. This is about e-fetting and chilling and having
Okay.
fun. Kind of like in our e-fetting and RP, work is work. It stays outside these four walls, you know.
Unless if it's a bad day, and then I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
I like to talk about bad employees on your end and make names go on, and then you laugh every time I say it.
It helps me feel better, yeah. But as far as just talking about what I do, there's time and place for that, and
Well,
this is not it.
Then let's get off that subject and approach a different one that I think you may be willing to share.
Okay.
So I know you have friends that do other things, not always EFED based,
Mhm.
but in general, as a group, as a whole,
Good questions on both sides.
well, I'm sorry, but I
You're
think
good.
this would be good for Eddie's show.
Yeah, you're good.
So,
Well, freaking, I associate with I don't just associate with WAE. I mention all the other shows on every other platform I'm on every single time in the beginning. Every single show I'm associated with.
like, it's not always EFED, right?
No.
No.
Like, because there's so many, different games out there that can be played.
Mhm.
So then, like with our calls, for example, Scylla and Wolfie, we have taken that realm of those calls outside of e-fetting.
Amazing.
We have fun with
We do Sea of Thieves as Scylla and Wolfie. I recently got him into Red Dead, He's recently turned me on to, what was it called? Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight. We can't create our characters in there, but it's gonna be fun regardless.
Yeah, that. I'm going to be streaming that on Twitch, and I'm glad I did not stream me doing the tutorial because I legit yelled out loud because it scared me so bad when I was playing this game and the killer got after me. It would have been embarrassing.
She was doing the tutorial, and the trapper was the killer of choice.
Oh god.
She fell into one of the bear traps, and here he come.
So he's turned me on to that, and just, I don't know, my spectrum, my realm. I've learned about, what are they called? You told me about the things you were. Ah, Tricky, for example.
Oh, VTubers.
Yeah, he introduced me to that. So I think now, Eddie, I want your opinion on this. Should he do a VTube personality?
What time and resources, babe?
It don't matter. Like, you could come up with it.
I would love to one day.
Just, the
But-
concept, the persona.
I would love to one day.
I think you should.
But I had said the same thing to you recently. You said you didn't feel like you had the qualifications for it.
Well, as a woman, I don't. I'm not your typical woman.
You
I don't do the little high-pitched squeals.
I told you you ain't gotta be. Anyway.
And I don't have the, was it the one I was so infatuated with? The rabbit one, what was her name? The one that did the hentai porn videos.
Good thing this is uncensored.
Yeah, let's hop off of that one. I think
Persona, though, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's not get him banned on Facebook here, all right?
Well, just saying.
This is going up on YouTube, so I already put this on uncensored.
Yeah, let's not go much further than that. But
okay, but my point being, you do the voice acting too, right?
Here and there, yeah.
Because you had people, even professionals, training you, helping you.
Steve Bloom.
And you are really, really good with that. So you could use that as the basis of your VTuber persona. That's where I was going with that. So anyways, sorry. I keep interrupting. It's your interview. Go ahead, do your thing.
It's all right.
I have opinions and they must be heard.
No judgment here.
As she alluded, yeah, I do a little VTubing. Or not VTubing, but a little voice acting here and there. I appreciate it.
You're really good at the stuff you do.
I'll think about it. But right now, we've got more important things.
Okay. Just
like I said in this interview, like I try to talk about e-fetting, I try to talk about wrestling, I try to talk about movies, whatever the person wants to interview about, like it's about that. And with your characters, we are going to get to some fun, entertaining characters that I know said you were very excited that you brought here.
Yeah, I've
freaking Ernest in the Grand Prix title. What the F was that? DFS? Really?
Breaking barriers.
Yeah, well, since she kind of brought it up before you did, I had characters I play as just for fun. It started with Frankenfurter, and I blame her because we watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, and to me it was like, dude is so out there. I wonder how he would be in e-fetting.
Eccentric.
And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, the idea would not leave me alone. I'm a very creative person. About Kaida, and then I'll go back to what I was going to. All her face paint, I do not find pictures for online and then upload on the CC stuff. I use the assets within the game itself to actually make her face paint. And a lot of people don't realize that, but all that stuff, the face paint, the designs, I make in game.
Phenomenal, by the way.
Mary has sat down and watched me do it.
Mm-hmm.
so she can vouch for me. So, but going back to Frankenfurter, it started with me just kind of antagonizing Mary with the
Oh God, stop.
you know, come on over here and see me, darling.
And for those of you that have never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, please go watch it.
But it started with that, and then I was like, I wonder if anybody on the CC has made Frankenfurter. So I got to looking, and there was nobody who made Frankenfurter on there. I was like,
If you're not a 10
okay.
fan, you can't be friends with us.
Right. So when I found nobody had anybody on the CC, I was like, all right, so I might could get somewhere with this. I sat down and I worked on designing Frankenfurter from 2 pictures of Rocky Horror Picture Show for what, 3 or 4 hours? Roundabout?
It took a while.
But I sat down and I designed him from the ground up in the CCTV.
Oh, that's what it is.
I thought it
And
came out amazingly, personally.
yeah, once I got done, I was like, there's no way I can't put him in WAE now, because it started out as an experiment. I didn't know if I'd be able to do it at all.
And his big rival was BPW.
Oh yeah, that was funny. But when I got done making him, I'm like, all right, I made him. Now let's see if I can make an entrance to work for him to bring him into WAE. Lo and behold, it didn't even take, 15 minutes to find the right entrance.
Mm-hmm.
So I found the entrance, and then just out of random curiosity, I turned on one of the songs from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Sweet Transvestite, to go with the entrance. And oh my God, we laughed for hours after that. I was like,
so well, huh?
It did. It did. It was like perfect. I was like, there's no way I can't not bring
A
him
match
into
made in
WAE
heaven.
now. So
A match made in heaven.
uploaded him to the CC. She downloaded him on the PS5 where she runs her show. PS4, I'm sorry. Where she runs the show. And from there, it was the debut episode of Wolf's Den.
Yeah.
He debuted. And oh my God, you should have seen some of the reactions, especially Jen when she saw him. She's like, oh my God. And that even before that, though, I was hyping him up. I was using the voice and everything to talk and do written promos as DFF. Of course, nobody knew what DFF meant until he debuted on Wolf's Den.
I did.
Well, very few then. Let's put it that way.
Eddie.
So,
Blame Eddie for that one. He got me into that movie.
Yeah, so lo and behold, his first match was against J-Max. He beat the tar out of J-Max, and it led into a rivalry with Big Papa Wolf that was just absolutely funny. It's one of those that you've got to see it to believe it.
Exactly.
I'm tearing up because I've laughed so much.
No judgment here. I'm glad that you're having fun talking about it.
That's just our thing, though. Is like, if it's not fun, we're not interested.
Hey, you know something, darling? DFF isn't completely gone. I might be in space right now, but I'll come back.
DFF return for 25 confirmed?
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible at WAE indeed.
I mean, it's almost about as bad as Medea. And you know Eddie yourself. Larry, Eddie will confirm. Talk to him, but he'll tell you Medea was a thing that happened, and oh God.
He showed me the video actually. It's up on YouTube.
So bad.
It's on YouTube.
I might have to look at that later, I reckon. But anyway.
It's on RCW, if I remember correctly. It's on the RCW ones because you were facing Medea. Eddie put you two up against each other.
But yeah. That's DFF, and then she alluded to him, Ernest. Ernest came about just out of curiosity. I actually did find a model on the CC for him, but I took the model and fixed it up a little bit. The model that I found had a long sleeve shirt and stuff like that. I was like, well, heck, that's not Ernest, you know. So I put the short sleeve shirt on. I changed the hat a little bit, changed the hairstyle to make it look a little bit more Ernest-like. And when I first brought him in, it was after I had seen Urkel. I was like, you know what, babe? I bet it would be fun to see Ernest and Urkel as a team. And we had just got done watching an Ernest film and stuff. Which one was it? Saves Christmas or was
Yeah.
no? It was Scared Stupid.
That was the
Scared
first one.
Stupid is a classic.
Ernest Saves Christmas
Yep.
was the last one we watched.
So
We even watched the Ernest Goes to Jail one in case he wanted to
that's
do it.
the one.
I love that one too. Such a
That's the
great one.
But
I love all the Ernest films.
I brought Ernest in as a joke character. Didn't intend for him to go very far, win anything. He was just there for fun. Filler. And lo and behold, the first debut match, he became Grand Prix champion. What?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
But
Why?
Urkel did the same
He
thing.
did. I'm like, okay.
These aren't even our serious calls, and they're holding top tier titles.
They are. Just
Uh-huh.
like, you know, my top tier characters. I'm like, bro, there's no way. And Ernest defended the Grand Prix title twice before losing it recently.
Yeah, so he does have
Welcome,
a
Alexa.
reason.
So I'm sitting here. Okay.
Baffled.
Why?
It happens.
But the overall intention later is to maybe bring a second Ernest call in to be Nash and to have a whole rivalry between
Like
Ernest and
the
Nash.
Ernest Goes to Jail.
Yeah.
This versus evil Ernest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see. That would be a great story. Oh, and get Urkel involved and stuff, and like have him be confused.
Since that's
That would be funny.
Team, you know, that what the possibilities with that storyline are just absolutely
Nash and Stefan versus Urkel and Ernest.
Oh,
That's all I gotta say.
Oh my God! Ah,
Or
money!
even better,
Let's go!
even better, Urkel bot and Nash.
Remember
because
the dummy? Remember the dummy from Urkel, the evil dummy? Yeah.
Of course, the Urkel bot went rogue in an episode or two as well. So
Okay, so let me real quick before you guys get too far going away from me here. The whole thing behind me getting Urkel in the company was the fact that Eddie is probably the biggest Steve Urkel fan that has ever existed since the dawn of time. And as my GM and all the hard work he does and stuff, I figured it was only fitting that I did something for him. So one day I was like, hey, Eddie, come check this out. And there's Urkel.
Urkel.
One of the best gifts, bro. One of the best gifts.
and it's the gift that keeps on giving.
It is, indeed.
Eddie has much love for you guys, and he appreciates everything.
As do we. We appreciate you and have so much love for you.
Yes.
You're my brother from another mother, and I could never have another.
Yeah, because without
Always.
Eddie being a big part of WAE, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Exactly. I mean, yeah.
We've got so much on us in real life and stuff that it's very hard to find time to do any kind of e-fetting. And we both love to do e-fetting like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
my
big
biggest
thanks.
issue is I like doing it with you, and when you're working and stuff all the time, I don't want to do it. But I do it anyways because I know when you're at work, you like to watch sometimes if you're not like swamped. So
If I'm swamped, I'm still listening at least.
yeah, but still, like it's more fun when you're.
Yeah. Anywho, so that's about some of my characters and stuff. You know, DFF and Ernest were not meant to be serious characters, and yet here we is.
And Ernest recently has been talking with Urkel.
Yeah. I think they're. I think the route they're probably going to go right now is comedy relief duo for a little bit before actually trying to go for the titles, if they even want to go for the titles. They're just enjoying each other's company. It gets Urkel away from the seriousness of the Russians and stuff like that, the constant training, and just lets him be Urkel.
Indeed. And Urkel always loves to have a fun time, and he has found definitely a good teammate in Ernest, a couple of wholesome gentlemen.
So my
Wholesome
question is
homies.
this: what's gonna happen if Waldo gets jealous?
Waldo has been with Alex Rain. I'm just gonna say that right now.
So his attention is elsewhere then.
He's off with his Alex Boo, or whatever he calls her.
Woo woo.
Yeah, his boo woo.
Okay, so yeah, this could really, oh, this could really work out well for Ernest and
Urkel.
Urkel.
The next top tag team.
Could you imagine?
Oh, what if they took the tag titles? What? Oh, bro.
That would
Oh, bro.
be Urkel's second time holding tag titles because him and Medea are in RCW as the tag champions still.
Oh, my word.
Yep, it could happen. It could happen.
How
Hello,
much
Mr. Mighty.
money can things get?
Do you have 90 minutes?
In all seriousness, so I freaking love this shit. I ain't even gonna lie.
It's fun.
It is.
The stories, the times you get to have during it, incredible.
Speaking of stories and everything, everybody pay attention to what's going on with the Covenant and Kaido right now, and everything involved around that.
That is one of the biggest groups in WAE today.
Because not everything is as it seems. I'll leave it at that.
Stay tuned for more to be revealed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh, it's Belt from the Croods! Where'd you come from?
We need somebody with a musical intuition to be our background music for these interviews. Dun, dun, dun.
One
I'll
day I'll
make
have a
sure to get that to
soundboard.
the production team.
That's what we need right there. Need the soundboard effects for these intense moments within the realm of interviews.
Well, eventually, when I do have more, when I actually get like a better working computer, I'm actually going to try to get more up and streaming on YouTube instead of just streaming from here. So I'll be able to add in more than just how much people I could have up to 3 other people in a call with me. But if I get up to StreamYard or something else, I can have up to like 10 people in a call with me.
Holy crap.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with a PC and stuff. And I've got computers moved in here. But anyway, that's off topic.
Hey, we've been having a fun time. We've been talking about all sorts of stuff in this interview. I love it. I think before I do have a question about this one because I've been really waiting for this one.
Okay.
Scylla,
Okay.
I want to
What
know the backstory, full backstory to whatever you could tell me, and to now. Who is the
Scylla and Kaida grew up together. They met under the same training
awesome?
when Kaida moved to the States to be a part of just what do we call them independent shows. They met there after years of being apart. They first were childhood friends in Japan because Scylla's mother is married to a military man, and that's actually canon in real life. Scylla's maybe a fictional daughter, but Deborah Michelli, aka Alondra Blaze, her husband is a military man. So it only made sense in my mind that they met in Japan Japan, became friends, and started talking wrestling. And when Kaida moved to the States for the independent circuits, they reunited as friends. They formed a tag team, and they dominated the tag team scene for a while until Scylla decided she was going to pull a Rockers and betray Kaida because she got jealous of Kaida's success.
Talk about the relationship too. That was interesting.
Oh yeah.
Adds to the.
Of course, that's wrestling storyline wise. Outside of that, they started dating for a while, and it didn't quite pan out, but they stayed good friends. So
Uh-oh.
back in the wrestling phase, they started this intense rivalry based on Scylla's jealousy of Kaida and her success. So they fought all over the globe in independent circuits, including Rumble Roses, Coastal. They had a match or two. They have yet to have a rivalry in WAE. That's not to say it won't happen, but their stories are very, very similar. They both were mistreated in Rumble Roses. Uh, Scylla has always played second fiddle to Kaida. So
Oh.
even even personally and in real life, kayfabe in real life, RP real life, whatever you want to call it, there is a little bit of jealousy there, and it shows in Scylla's questioning of her own skills. Is she good enough to hang with Kaida? Is she good enough to hang with people in WAE? And I'm pretty sure you've seen that lately. She's been bouncing back and forth on whether she wanted to be a wrestler or just manager with Wolfie. And Wolfie is constantly on her. You need to just get in the ring and have a good time with it and stop concerning yourself so much about the winning or comparing to others. And just in Scylla's mind, she can't do that fully because she doesn't feel she's as good as any of the others. When the reality is the opposite. She is that good. She hasn't had a chance to show it much. Just because she's not as good of a striker or as fast doesn't mean she's not equally talented in the ring, and she hasn't learned that yet.
She always downplays herself.
Exactly. Whereas Kaida, she knows how good she is, but she's not arrogant about it. She goes out there, she fights, she puts on a show everywhere she goes, no matter if she's heel or face. She does it for the fans. All right. Scylla hasn't reached that mindset yet. She hasn't seen how good she actually is yet.
And Scylla got the victory at that last WAE pay-per-view for her and Wolfie.
She did, and she needed that. She needed that. Hopefully, we can see more.
Indeed
But
so. And
right now,
speaking of,
Scylla is just kind of, she's at that awkward point. She's like, okay, I'm back in the ring. I got a victory. Maybe I can do this.
yeah,
And Shiori, Kaida's wife, has now been given the okay from Wolfina to follow her out as a manager in matches and stuff. So you guys might see Shiori some.
Shiori, and this one has a big connection in both Scylla and Kaida's story.
No, just Kaida's.
Okay.
Shiori and Kaida met in Rumble Roses and whatnot. Shiori was the only photographer Kaida trusted to treat her with dignity and respect, even in the risque photos and whatnot. Shiori didn't look at Kaida like she was a piece of meat, more or less. And over time, their friendship developed into something more, and now they're married with their own little one. And Shiori just recently got hired by Wolfina to be the company photographer, recording the shows, and now has been giving the blessing, more or less, to accompany Kaida out to the ring as a
This
manager.
this will be awesome to see how this all plays out in the end.
Shiori story's not going to have really main story implications. She's just there.
Okay.
I never made her to be a huge character. Shiori is bounced back and forth between me and Mary. She'll play Shiori every now and then, but I mostly play her when needed.
You never know. The fans, like, even though you try to put somebody out there, maybe that you don't want to get big, that fans might get behind said person, you know?
Well, the only real purpose that she has ever served, as far as within my realm, has been to kind of show a bit of the story behind Kaida's in the ring person as opposed to out the ring person.
Yes.
You know, because everybody that has ever been a wrestler in real life, you know, they have their life outside of the ring, and those, you know, those moments are significant when it affects performance within the ring.
And that's part of why I like to portray both my in-ring personas with my characters and outside of ring, because we all know wrestlers have lives outside of rings, and in the e-betting world, it's very rare you get to see that played out. So I feel like that gives another layer and dynamic to the characters.
Yeah, the cause background, previous to being hired and now as hired on within the company. One thing about my Fed that I do uphold and rather strongly is those backstories to each and every call, because I cannot stand the generic, boring, oh, well, here's a character, it's going to fight another character, and there you go, end of story.
Yep.
No, fuck that. That's not interesting. That's boring.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do boring. Give me those creative juices. I want to see them flow.
Yep. And that's why, and I'll say this to anybody in WAE, if you ever want to run a story with me, just message me on the side. Say, hey, I've got an idea, and I'll help you out. I'm probably, and this is not me being arrogant. I'm probably one of the best story writers in WAE. So
we have a pretty good number of people who have that capability, and I agree. Kerry is one of my top storytellers and story developers. So yeah, I don't argue that. Not at all.
Well said, well said.
So Eddie, I know Eddie and Larry, maybe. Y'all are both horror buffs. Have y'all noticed Kaida's dark side at all?
Eddie's more of that horror buff. You're gonna have to talk to him. I just watch it because he makes me watch these, so yeah. But I don't mind.
Makoto.
But all you people with all your magic and all your voodoo spooka wolfing, it's all scary to me. I'll be attacked anywhere because the other day I had Wild Man on here. He was messing with my lights.
Spookadoofa. That's what we call it. Spookadoofa.
Yeah.
Spookadoofa.
Yeah, poor Wolfie, she constantly thinks when Makoto's around it's bad juju all around.
Juju.
Bad juju. Bad juju.
Bad juju. That's juju.
See, that's the thing. The bad juju. Yeah. No.
Domino ever cross paths, it's gonna be the end. We all gonna die.
To that lady's
Makoto,
name. She scares me, man.
Makoto was developed from Kaida's desire of revenge against the promoter of Rumble Roses and other people who have mistreated her.
So
So
making people pay for their sins.
yes.
Oh.
Now, that delves back into her Japanese culture. There is a certain spirit that does the same thing. Perhaps you've heard of them, Onryos. They are They are vengeful spirits
Mm-hmm.
that are
Mm-hmm.
tied as a curse or anything like that based in vengeance. Onryos can't be stopped. They can't be killed. And the only way to be rid of one is the person who brought the harm upon said person in life is in the spirit to actually show true remorse. But the problem with this is the person who was responsible for everything done to Kaida is no longer amongst the living. So how do you get rid of something like that? But
You can't.
exactly. You go back to sources like The Grudge and The Ring. So Makoto, as much as Kaida and others, may want her gone, is here to stay. And you never know when she's going to pop up. And recently, um, Covenant has wanted to try to weaponize that side of Kaida. And Kaida is refusing, but at the same time is joining in on their cause because Tiffany, in general, has started threatening her family and her way of life outside of the ring. So it's a really deep intertwined thing. So there's a conflict going on within both Covenant and Kaida herself. Yeah.
Sometimes the worst enemy is our own self.
Shoot it, burn it, catch on fire. Bad juju.
Yeah, Juju.
So
And here
yeah.
comes Corey Davis, who is known for his juju powers.
No, bad
His,
juju.
his voodoo juju.
Yeah. So whenever Makoto's around, just know it's a bad time.
The only way angry Asian can get worse. Bad juju.
And Scylla has her own dark side that hasn't been revealed yet.
Well,
Welcome,
not
Mickey.
here, but yeah. Wolfie has got comfortable in her thought processes that she has dealt with this thing, but she forgets that things don't always, they're not what they seem.
So
I go shoot.
yeah, we couldn't conclude this whole interview without talking about Makoto, the Onryo, at least once.
No, yeah, please. Like I said, if there's any characters that I may have missed, please, that I don't
Okay,
have written down.
no more interviews. Bad juju. Nope.
But yeah, Makoto only comes out when Kaida's been driven to a certain point, and that has but hasn't happened. We've seen Makoto before in WAE, but it was
Mhm.
a physical manifestation fighting against Kaida for control, not Kaida tapping into it. There was only one time you saw a little bit of Makoto in Kaida, and that was during the rivalry with Alexa. Do you remember, Larry, the black attire that when Kaida came out, her skin looked normal, but in the ring it started glowing red?
Yes.
There you go. And I developed that attire based on the late great Bray Wyatt. His last appearance in Royal Rumble against LA Knight, the
Ooh,
blackout match.
yeah, yeah.
I was talking to Mary one day. I was like, I wonder if I could do an attire similar to that, and even have the glowing effect in the ring. So I got to toying around with the idea of it in the creative wrestling area, and I managed to kind of make it work. So if you ever, and you really pay attention to it, if you ever see Kaida come out with that dark attire, really pay attention. Her skin looks completely normal. She's got black around the eyes, but in the ring, she's glowing.
You can tell there's an entity there. There's something there.
Yep. So, and Alexa brought that out once she sucker punched Kaito when Kaito was trying to be civil, even as a heel.
Mm.
And what was interesting about that rivalry is there was a double change in alignment. Midway through that rivalry, you saw Alexa start taking on more heelish personas inside, and Kaito revert back to her heroine side.
Yeah.
In the promos and stuff. That was not planned. It was just one of those things that happened. So there was a double turn, as they like to call it in the wrestling world, during that rivalry, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I wish we could have played more into it, but I think Alexa had a lot going on in her real life, and so did I. We just couldn't get on the same page of building that story more.
Well, perhaps in time that could be revisited, but
Maybe.
Right now, Kata has far bigger things to worry about.
Yeah. Well, the seeds are planted. I mean, Kaida and Vextra took the titles from the Rain sisters, so.
And the Reigns haven't said anything about it.
I noticed that. It's kind of sad, but it's okay.
Well, maybe they don't want them tag titles. Maybe there's new teams on the rise that deserve them.
Well, Kaida and Vex, well, specifically Kaida, she wanted those titles off of the Rain sisters because she didn't feel like the Rain sisters were representing them very well.
She is a double champion with Vextra.
And Wolfie also, same thing. She wanted the titles off of the Rain sisters. The original plan, when first starting this, was Wolfie and Kaida, but then Scylla came back to wrestling, and they got the four-lady faction there going on, and now it's Scylla and Wolfie teaming, and then Kaida and Vextra teaming, so it was decided Kaida and Vextra go after the tag titles. So that's kind of where we're at there. And they got them.
And they are ready for any and all comers, and I know that you guys have a very big women's roster so far, even compared to the men's, and even have a lot of teams on the women's that are hungry and ready for those belts. So I think you'll possibly get more contenders.
Yeah, and then I ask you, what better characters to represent the tag titles than the two top ladies in WAE right now?
It's fire.
So we got all this stuff going on.
A lot of chaos and mayhem on WAE. A very good norm there.
It really doesn't take much. You just have to give it the time, the proper time and attention, and those seeds, when nurtured, can turn into quite the foray, and so much the better for us because we get to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Well, freaking, as we do approach to the final few questions I do have, does Kaida have anybody that she's never faced, or maybe a few that she hasn't faced that she would love to face?
Plenty. She hasn't really fought Riley per se. Michaela, she hadn't fought. She hasn't had. I don't think she's fought Alex yet.
Oh, the Riley thing, that would be good for the next episode of Vixens. We could have a champion versus champion females because we see that in the men's.
Well, but Eddie is working on that card actually for the champion versus champion women's as we speak, and he's actually going to get about with you about that today.
Yeah, and that would be a hell of a match out there because I'm still technically the GM for Vixens, and I think I'm going to make that a thing.
Yeah, and there's nothing that says that Kaida and Scylla can't renew their rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that would be a treat for WAE too, when the time is right.
Indeed.
Of course, Kaida, she just fought Tiffany. That was a first time meeting. So there's plenty that Kaida has not faced, and same for Scylla.
That will work. WAE's shortest female fighter and champion going up against the largest, well, almost largest, but Brittany kind of took that position, but still,
Yeah.
wow.
Just think of it like Rey Mysterio versus the Giant in WCW,
Oh,
or even better,
could be good.
Rey Mysterio versus Kevin Nash. That was a better example.
This could be.
So there's plenty that Kaida hadn't taken down with her kicks yet.
Oh, yes, indeed. And funny that you actually mentioned that women's title match, because how Eddie had it planned was he actually had it in a tag way, was he was going to team Riley and Britt versus Kaida and Vextra.
That's going to be interesting.
But that is all up to you guys to decide. I'm not the GM there, Eddie, and you are.
Kaida being the heroic person she is and working for the fans and stuff, she'll take on any challenge.
And anybody Scylla wants to face that she hasn't?
Scylla, in her mind, wants to work from the bottom up. She's
Oh,
trying to regain her confidence back.
so she's just ready for anybody.
Yeah. And then, Kaida on the side, she has the arcade bar or arcade grill and stuff that she runs too. And the story behind that started in Coastal as well. The story behind the arcade is it gives a place for people to go with their cause and just be characters. They ain't got to be wrestlers. Everybody is welcome in the arcade as long as they don't try to start crap like a certain shit stain did before. We all know who that is.
All
Uh,
inclusive.
yeah. So nobody is turned away unless they start drama.
Basically, if they
Kaida,
cause a problem in your establishment.
yeah, Kaida outside the ring is the biggest nerd girl you could ever know.
Awesome. Nerds are awesome.
I think so because I use one.
Mm-hmm. Urkel's one too.
Mm-hmm.
And me a little bit.
We all are in some way.
Indeed. We all got something we geek and nerd about.
Mm-hmm. And
Freaking
just a little factoid about me in real life. I
shoot.
knew wrestlers by their name and theme song before I knew my ABCs. I was born in '89, so I'm familiar with wrestlers from late '80s, early '90s on. So your Jake Robertses, your Nasty Boys, all of them that many people don't think about now. I'm very familiar with.
Eddie and I could tell you stuff back from the carnival days to now. You and I need to have, you all three of us need to have a talk sometime.
I think that'd be fun.
Speaking of which, I did basically get the E-Fed questions out of the way. Who are your favorite wrestlers? And it could be men and women, of course.
It started with Jake Roberts, and it
Jacob.
evolved into The Undertaker,
Ooh,
and then later Bray Wyatt. I'm
beautiful.
also a big fan of Kane, Mick Foley as Mankind or Cactus Jack, either one. Um,
Did you like Do
I,
Love?
he wasn't my cup of
Oh,
tea, but
okay.
even though it was Mick Foley, the Brood, Gangrel, Edge, and Christian. I was a
Wow.
big fan of
Classic.
them. Back in WCW, I was a big fan of Canyon when he was in his Mortis persona.
Who better the canyon. His Mortis persona was scary. How he
It
came
really
out.
was, especially with James Vandenberg
Mhm.
as his manager. It was crazy, and that organ music with it. Not a lot of people realized Dustin Rhodes was in WCW as Seven.
Yes,
It
he
was
was.
a one night sort of thing,
hmm
and he just shot down the whole idea of Seven. But
hmm
I remember it very vividly, that eerie music and him floating, literally floating to the ring. I was like, this is extra. It's
Yeah,
out there, and I liked it. But then he just straight killed off the character because he didn't like it, I think.
yeah.
Um,
Well, there was a lot of stuff about the character that threw people off, so
yeah,
it gave a lot of bad critiques. If you actually watch the promo that they did to promote him, wasn't really something that they really wanted to keep
yeah.
on there.
I was also a fan of Piper, big Piper fan.
Hey, yeah.
I was never really big with Hulk Hogan and Flair. I prefer the dark characters, especially when Sting went in his Crow persona, which, here's a spoiler, back in WCWF, and I could pull them up, there was two instances where Kaida pulled a lot of inspiration from Sting. One with his Crow persona, that's her Ice Queen gimmick, and then the other was when Sting was in TNA as the Insane Icon.
During the whole Joker thing.
hmm So
Yeah.
picture that with Kaida.
With her already being as crazy as she is, I can't imagine.
Exactly. So there's a big, big story and history with Kaida that we've only touched the surface of. A lot of,
This is your, if there's something that you would like to say, this is your interview.
oh no, I'd rather show when the time is right.
For sure.
It's
Stay
so much
tuned for
more
that, ladies and gentlemen.
fun, so much more fun to show than to tell.
Indeed.
Um, but yeah, that's some of my biggest influences and favorites in wrestling. And I realize I named off a lot of people and inspirations that most don't think about, but they all have one thing in common. They're all really good psychological storytellers.
Indeed. Jake Roberts probably being the one of the best at the psychological mind games.
Jake Roberts is the epitome of speak softly but carry a big stick.
Dude, he can speak into a room like no other. It was beautiful to hear him speak. Whenever he was talking to you, oh my god.
When Jake Roberts speaks, everyone listens.
hmm
So,
Even people that hated Jake Roberts was listening to him.
mhm. And I was so happy to see Dallas reinvigorate and resurrect Jake Roberts. I was
And not
so
just him, but
happy.
also Scott Hall.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that I'm going to be trying to do in my personal life is get back on my DDP yoga. I tried recently, but there were situations in our living environment that's kept me from doing it again. And it's things that I can't really control right now.
Some
But
things are out of our control.
yeah, but I'll get back to it. Uh,
Indeed, you
I've
shall.
got the whole area set up. It's just being able to do it consistently without interruptions and without having to worry about um, not eating properly and stuff to go with it. There's a
Yeah.
lot that's going into it that's delaying me, but I'll get to where I need to be. I've got to drop at least 100 pounds to even get near comfortable where I want to be.
Most indeed.
But I can actually attest that what DDP did for Jake it's real because when I was doing it before, I was dropping 7 pounds a week. Can you imagine that?
Well, I
Seven
mean,
pounds a
like if
week.
you've never seen the DDP yoga stuff or just watched the Jake Roberts documentary or even the Scott Hall documentary, you need to go watch those. Those things will show you exactly that what DDP did. It would had me down in tears because I love Jake Roberts. So
It will
and
change
he
your
was
life.
yeah, he changed those guys' life and I also love Scott Hall. It was so sad that he was taken from us. So sad.
With Scott, unfortunately, the damage was done, much like Eddie to the heart and
Yeah,
stuff. Damage was
Eddie.
done. Uh,
That was the sad part about it. Eddie eventually died, but then that's also what made Chris Benoit go crazy.
that's different circumstances. The heart failure that Scott Hall had, and Eddie had, even Dallas can't really fix that. And most people consider Dallas a miracle worker, and he's as close to it as you
Well,
can get. But
personally, he did help save Scott no matter what. Scott did have a better life after.
yes,
So,
but again, the damage was already done.
yeah, but I'm just saying he still helped him.
Right,
That
and
was
as
the
far
fact of it.
as far as Chris Benoit goes, this is a controversial take, I know, but I don't think he did it. I really don't.
Oh boy.
Um, I don't think he did, and I'm not going to go into details. But and even if he did do it, the X-ray showed he had brain damage that resulted in basically the brain of an 80-year-old senile man. So
Personally, that would be your opinion, yes, but at the same time, Eddie Guerrero was what made him go crazy if you looked at it.
that's
After he
part of
lost
it. The
Yeah,
depression.
but after Eddie died, if you haven't noticed what other people saw, that was the big fact about it, was that
Yeah, that
Eddie died, and Chris started to act like as if he lost a spouse. People saw the change in Chris. That's what made him change.
yeah.
He was already
Uh,
getting
I
CTE to begin with, but he eventually changed.
yeah, and I can see that again. You know,
I mean, if my friend I would not be happy if some of my friends died, but to go like that, that's pretty hard. Especially
yeah,
what he was going through wrestling, getting chair shots to the skull.
yeah,
Not easy.
yeah. I know that personally. Backyard wrestling, I've taken plenty of chair shots.
You run a backyard wrestling company?
Um, Not a company, but I did do a lot of backyard wrestling with friends and my cousin and stuff. Yeah, I've taken chair shots. I've been put through table. I've taken shots off of ladders.
What was
Uh,
your company's name?
we didn't have one.
You guys just did it for the fun of it, basically?
Yeah, that's all it was. I was catapulted into a wood stove. That was fun.
Oh,
Um,
that's fun. Very
Ran into a stop sign. I, I've been through a lot. No wonder my brain no work good.
good. I think that could be said for a lot of us.
But I did do backyard wrestling and stuff. It was fun. Um,
The day they posted, "Do not try this at home," was the day they made the fatal mistake.
yep,
I don't
basically.
think anybody followed those rules.
Let's see. Delving a little bit more in my real life, I was going to go into wrestling. Out of high school, I was going to start training in Bill Dundee's wrestling camp here in Tennessee. Um, However, fate had different plans. I injured my knee real bad in high
Oh,
school. It hadn't been right since, and I got to where I was demotivated more or less to try. Of course, I found art and writing during the time I was healing with my knee injury, and I found that I enjoyed those just as much, along with voice acting. But I was originally going to be enrolled in Bill Dundee's School of Wrestling,
oh,
and uh,
a legend. If nobody knows who Bill Dundee is, please go look into him.
yeah, and he lives very, very close to where I originally lived, along with Coco Beware.
That's
I lived
awesome.
in I lived in West Tennessee, and Coco Beware, he lives in Union City, which is literally 35 minutes from where I live.
That is a fact because we were there. We stayed there.
That's wild. That's really wild.
Yep, and as a kid, I have a picture of me with Bill Dundee that is autographed. So,
Right.
yep, he has a note on there that says "Best of luck in your future. I look forward to seeing you." So, my mom had literally talked to Bill Dundee about me joining his wrestling camp, and
Your
then
mom got you in the camp.
she was going to sign me up if I still wanted to. Yes. Um,
Ah.
She was also, I talked to her about joining the WCW power plant for training.
Damn.
Yeah. So, I'm taking people way back, Most people don't even know what the power plant is. The power plant has since been changed into the new training area for WWE right now. What do they call it? It was the arena they used during the COVID time. That was
Well,
the
they
original WCW power
I
plant.
believe, I believe they also didn't they also go by DSW Deep South Wrestling for a bit with the
Deep
power
South
plant.
Wrestling, that was, I believe, Bill Dundee's company that he owned. Deep South
Okay,
Wrestling or something like that.
so that was the one.
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
if that's the one, because I believe that's what happened to the power plant after, because that was a developmental territory for WWE
mhm,
after WCW fell. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
and TNA
imagine,
and TNA.
so imagine if I had actually gotten in where I would be today. Think about that for a minute.
Wouldn't be here, I don't guess. Hey,
Yeah.
well.
I mean,
But to be
that
honest,
would have been
I,
interesting to see.
I I wouldn't trade my path for anything. I quite enjoy wrestling, and had I not taken this path, I wouldn't have met my fiance. So
You took the EFED path.
I took the EFED path, yes. Uh,
Well, sounds like you got something great out of it, and you made a lot of great connections with not just her, but many others of what I've observed, and I'm happy I got the chance to get to know you here. And I think everybody else is happy about this too, and this is definitely going to be probably one of my longest episodes, I will say.
I'm sorry.
No, no sorries.
It's a good thing.
Yeah,
So
you're good. This is I love that. Like freaking, I love this. This is like the first time I got into a conversation like this, I think, in a long time on one of my lives. So awesome.
I'm glad. You know, uh, I, I'm I'm a wrestling encyclopedia, more or less. I just I know more about wrestling than I should know. Let's put it that way.
Hey, no judgment here. That same could be said for me and Eddie. I'd love to have more convos with you. Freaking, we were having some great conversations the other night about those
Yeah.
radio show hosts.
Oh yeah.
And I
Uh,
did watch that clip. Great, great.
oh,
Chef's
oh
kiss.
yeah. Uh,
But those were really my questions that I actually had off the top of my head. Do you have anything you would like to add that we maybe missed?
but we touched a little on my voice acting and stuff. She brought up the point that I've had professionals teaching me a little bit. I do plan on getting back into voice acting
Voice.
school when I can afford it. It's like $100 a month to be taught by Steve Bloom himself in
Oh,
his school. So
yeah, it's
I've
awesome.
had one I've had one lesson with Mr. Bloom. Very, very good teacher. I was proud of myself. I didn't fanboy out the whole time. I actually sat there, took notes, and did the exercises. I originally had 3 or 4 fan sort of projects lined up. I think they've fallen through. One of them I really hope comes back. I was supposed to be a part of a fan dubbing of the Injustice Gods Among Us series and
Oh,
Batman versus Superman series. I was supposed to play Superman.
what?
So, yep. So,
Fuck.
imagine, if you will, good Superman, bad Superman, and Injustice facing off. That whole scene would have been me literally acting with myself.
Hmm.
So that was going to be a challenge, and I was so excited for it. I even went so far. I really wanted these roles, believe it or not. I went so far as I went to Dollar General and I bought two different figures. I bought little Superman in his typical red blue outfit and then the black outfit, and I had them right there beside me on my computer and stuff where I was doing my voice acting and whatnot. So that was pretty fun. It helped keep me in character as well. I guess that's where I get my inspiration to tell these stories and play these characters like I do. Eddie himself has said that I pretty much nail Frankenfurter and Ernest personalities, so I guess I do pretty good.
I think you do personally too. Freaking Eddie has told me about it. He gets entertained every single time.
Yeah, so I take pride in what I do and I enjoy it.
That's really what you should do. Like everybody should have fun with it and not make it so serious. It should have
Yeah,
fun. Like there should be times that have fun, And like this is
yeah,
about having fun. It's a game. It's not real
yeah.
life. Like, we're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, and
Freaking.
I know if I can make people cringe talking like Frankenfurter, I know I'm doing my job right because I'm supposed to.
Can you please do your I don't know if you want me to reveal this, but I thought you did a great Tales from the Crypt impression.
John Garcia with the Crypt Keeper here.
Yes, yes. One day, the Crypt Keeper in WAE. Oh,
Do not tempt me.
I kind of want to tempt you.
Kinda wanna see it.
Do you really?
Yes.
I'll see what I can do. Uh,
Ah,
really,
yeah.
really, my first foray into voice acting was trying to impersonate The Undertaker at 4 years old. Okay, and for a 4-year-old, I got pretty close. Now it's real easy. I will bury you alive. So
Pretty good.
that was my first foray. Then I got to play the Joker, Mark Hamill's version. So I went into all that. So there's a lot that I can do, and I enjoy it.
It's awesome. Go pursue what you enjoy and love. That's what matters here.
Right now, my biggest pursuit is my life with Mary. That's brought me the most happiness, to be honest with you. Cat!
Ooh, Duchess, what are you doing?
And if you guys wanna go check out the Wolfina video on my page, that one is up there. We're hoping to get Wolfie on here sometime. I was told by Eddie I should be aware of the censor bars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Wolfie!
that could be so bad for everybody.
I think it'd be funny.
I think the Tory party will start hacking us even more.
She's so opinionated. She's such a bitch.
And yo, you ain't getting my cookie, cat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the questions I had for Mr. Kerry here, and we have had a fun time on this. If you guys have enjoyed it, this will be up on YouTube later today. I already posted up 2 of my videos today, and this will be the 3rd one going up, and then we'll
I
stay tuned for
appreciate
more.
I appreciate
And
the opportunity to be here.
it was an honor, sir. We hope to have you on here again. Maybe even we can even go over a prediction show for WAE sometime. Get a few of the WAE personnels on here.
Since you mentioned YouTube, do you mind if I do a little plug for my own little channel? I haven't done anything on there in a while, but I've
You
got
can
one.
promote whatever you want on here. Go for it.
K-Pop Studios Entertainment is my YouTube channel. On there, I've got, God, they're old videos now, but I've got video game Let's Plays. I've got a voice acting story read that I developed while watching GMK, aka Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah. I did a script of that in Godzilla's perspective. That was one of the movies where Godzilla is actually the bad guy. This was like a ghost version of Godzilla that was really cool to see. Um, yes, I have a video on there that I did just for fun. I put together a lot of the Jack Link's messing with Sasquatch videos.
Ah,
So I did that, and I mixed Harry from Harry and the Hendersons laughing at when Bigfoot basically gets the better of the humans. Can't, you know. So I did that one. It's really fun. Just I was bored that day, and when I did that video, it actually blew up more than I intended it to.
Funny.
I've got a voice acting uh, project I want to do at some point as soon as I can, where I'm going to narrate Batman's The Killing Joke. So,
Ooh.
yeah, I've got a trailer on there with that one where I'm voice acting the Joker. So, if you guys want to see all that, I would appreciate it.
Yes, you heard that from him himself, ladies and gentlemen. He has himself his own page. And please, as I've said, go check out the other e-fetting companies out there and the other pro wrestling companies, and go check out some of the directors and producers. And with that being said, I would like to say thank you again, Mr. Kerry. We hope to have you on here again soon.
Maybe later we were talking about another podcast you wanted to do. I'd gladly be a part of.
Yes, yes, sir. Freaking, I am hoping to do more of those on the side. Like, and freaking, I will definitely reconvene with you about it and tell you about the situation that we have going for that. And we would love to have you on here for that.
Okay. And quick camera shot. Hi, babe.
Uh-huh.
Hello, world.
I know.
Well, it was a pleasure having you guys on. You guys have yourselves a good one.
This was fun. Thank you. You have a good one.
Court. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the interview today. Stay tuned for more Shadows Within.